Don't want to foul. Shannon from the corner, and it's over. Gonzaga, the flipper still fits.
Russell takes the snap, drops back. He's going to throw down the middle. He's got a man. The ball is caught.
Game over,
it is
baby.
a touchdown. The game is over. The Seahawks are going back to the Super Bowl in Glendale. What a catch in the end zone. It is cursed.
Welcome back to the locker room. We are here for another show. This one will be just a bit shorter. There's just not much going on. It's kind of boring. I mean, I don't know what you've been up to in the sports world. It's consistently just negative news all the time. And, hopefully the more positive we are about the entire thing, the more positive the world will get in terms of
because the world's really waiting to hear
it's the locker room or bust, essentially.
Exactly.
So when we reach out to our Congress people and they essentially listen to our recommendations, so we will pass on everyone else's recommendations. So
it is quite the process though, so don't expect it to happen in a timely manner.
Might take a couple minutes at least. So first off, I have a big issue. ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports. They are supposed to be just this massive conglomerate that can run everything sports. And I woke up at 5:55 this morning to watch the Seattle Sounders kick off at 6.
First mistake, you're right, because they lost like a bunch of fools. I woke up at 5:55. I cleared the cache, reinstalled the app, all because I couldn't even watch them. They're there. I saw it, but it wouldn't play. So they have a 3.7 rating on Google Play. And this is a company that is worth billions and billions of dollars, and they can't even get an app right. And they've had this app for probably 10 plus years. At least. I've had it since I was in middle school, it feels like.
So it's ridiculous. And I essentially wanted to start off with that because I know they're listening, and I will get an answer from them.
I'm curious what it is, if there's a discrepancy on how well it's rated on iTunes.
Well, our producer earlier made fun of me for having an Android, and it's like, doesn't really count because Androids are usually just better anyway. So
4.4 stars.
4.4.
Huh.
Oh no. Okay. Well.
Ugh.
That might be on me, but I'm going to blame ESPN on that.
Still not great.
Still not great.
For the worldwide leader.
For the worldwide leader in sports. So now that that's off of my plate, because that actually really I ended up falling asleep and missing the game. So that was unfortunate.
Also, people have echoed similar sentiments with trying to purchase these UFC fight nights on the ESPN Plus app. Most of these people do happen to be over the age of 30, but I like to think that that's still a competent age when it comes to being able to figure out some of these technological hurdles that you got to get over in order to put something up on your television screen. But I know that, there are similar frustrations.
Well, the other really frustrating to go on to ESPN Plus, since you brought that up, I can't even watch Sounders game. I'm blacked out because they think that I'm local to Seattle, which it's like, not really. We don't get Joe TV over here.
No.
So, ESPN is not the worldwide leader in sports that they think that they are. That didn't sound quite right, but they're just not as good as they think they are. That's a little bit better. So, first off, we're gonna go over some Madden rankings. So, Madden comes out, I think, next month. Is that right? I think it's August, because then FIFA comes out in September. This is how I get my season started, is when the video games come out. So
since sports aren't gonna do it for us.
Yeah, it's literally only video games. That's all we have to kind of tide us over. So some Madden rankings have been released for rookies over the last couple weeks, but they did just kind of dump out all of the top 10 running back and quarterback rankings, which we will go over now. First off, which I don't think too many people are going to have an issue with in this day and age with the numbers he has put up over the last few seasons, is Christian McCaffrey. The one argument I think people could have with it is that he is the first 99 overall Madden player since Adrian Peterson in Madden 25, and that he made an 8-point jump from last season.
Wait, hold on. 99 at any position?
No, first 99 at running back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, because Bobby Wagner was in the 99 club last year and got those sweet, I think they were like Jordan, like gold cleats and everything. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, now we're okay.
Continue.
So McCaffrey number one. I think no one really has too much to say about that.
Run CMC.
He's a stud. He can do it all. Derrick Henry at 2, which I think a lot of that has to do with just his performance in the last few
bias.
games.
It's got to be recency bias.
Like he's not that special.
He had an incredible season, and he is a monster, and he's probably the last person that I would want to have to tackle in a gap.
That's fair.
However, outside of that, I mean, he's got a gnarly stiff arm and everything. He's not super elusive. He's not going to put moves on you. He's just a straight downhill back, and there's merit to that, and obviously that paid off. I think it's a recency bias thing. I think it just is coming off the back of the Titans playoff run.
I'm a little surprised not to see Zeke there, and just because of the fact that he has the history to back it up. Now, again, these rankings are before the season starts. They get updated every single week based off of their performance. So this is going to change because, we'll jump to the quarterback.
They're really just put out to create content in a content lull for chumps like us to get all frustrated
and just worked up about. So tied for third is where Zeke comes in with Nick Chubb. And I think Chubb's probably a decent spot. If you just
I actually like Chubb at
him.
3. I like Chubb at 3. I respect that. I do think that he's a little underappreciated just because the Browns have been not great. However, he's been consistently the best part of their offense over the course of the last 2 seasons. And he's been really bell cow back for him.
Which is surprising when they went out to go get Kareem Hunt to sit back behind him. So that was kind of an interesting move. But moving on, tied for 5th, and this one I think is probably, again, pretty fair, is Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley. Barkley was coming off of a very, very, very impressive rookie season. Struggled with injuries the entire season. I would know because he was on my fantasy team. Had he have been healthy, I probably would have been able to get first. I took second, which is also very frustrating. But I think Barkley's in a good spot there. I think Cook being at 5 probably, when he's healthy, he looks like a top 3 back. In my opinion.
I disagree. Yeah, no, I'm not a Cook guy.
Okay.
I don't get on all the hype. I think he is vastly benefited by the scheme that Minnesota runs, and that's not to take anything away from him. However, it's just like trying to separate Brady from Belichick, you know? You can't have one without the other. It's kind of the chicken and egg thing. Give me Alvin Kamara all day over Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook's ligaments are like cooked spaghetti noodles. I just do not trust that guy.
Mix Cook in there too, so the cooked spaghetti noodles.
Thank you.
But I also agree with Kamara because Kamara is all the way down at 9th, tied for 9th with a guy here. But I think Kamara should be up there as well.
I do too. I'm surprised he's
at 7
as far
is
down.
Aaron Jones. You're telling me Alvin Kamara is a worse running back than Aaron Jones? Heck, you're telling me that Joe Mixon is a worse running back than Aaron Jones?
Right.
You watch Mixon's tape, and that Bengals team was god awful. And I think Mixon on pure talent should be higher up because you don't have that good of a rookie season and just drop off. So I would move Aaron Jones. I could see moving Dalvin Cook down to 7 and moving Kamara above him. But I think Mixon and Cook are probably talent-wise pretty similar.
And this is going to sound like a completely homer take, which I will take that in stride.
Right
but
in the chin.
Drop Jacobs. He had an incredible rookie season for the Raiders, and I respect that. And I do like him, and I think he's going to be a good back, and I think he's going to be a real focal point for their offense over the course of the next few years. Put Carson up there.
I was also surprised not to see Chris Carson.
I get it. He put the ball on the ground like 75 times last year. It was like every time it was like, hey, 1st and 10. Oh, we're going to run it. Crazy. Oh, hey, we got 5 yards. Oh, and they're going back the other way. Okay, great. Hey, Chris, why don't you hold on to the ball? Outside of that, like if you look at all the numbers with the yards after contact, he's always in the top 3.
I think he was 5th in rushing yards.
Yeah, and he was. And he didn't play, the last 4 games?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, he's battled hip things on and off. It hasn't kept him off for, entireties of the season or anything like that. But Chris Carson's a beast.
I'm also surprised by that because you look at, and I'm not trying to compare their 2 talents, but Adrian Peterson had 7 fumbles in a year where he ran for like 1,600 yards. And I guarantee you that when that Madden ranking came back out, he was not outside of the top 10. And again, I don't want to compare the 2 because Adrian Peterson is a generational talent.
Correct.
But based off of pure stats alone, it's very surprising. One interesting thing to look at, we look at the top 10 from last year, the players that dropped out. Todd Gurley was at 1. This was a big shift, actually. Todd Gurley was at 1. Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell were tied for 3rd. Kareem Hunt was tied for 7th.
Wow.
And Devonta Freeman was tied for 9th. And all of those guys.
Bad look right there, Devonta.
Most of those, Todd Gurley had a bad year. Melvin Gordon had a bad year because he sat out half of the season. Le'Veon Bell had a decently bad year, nothing special. Kareem Hunt didn't have really a season, and Devonta Freeman had a bad year. Yeah. So essentially what we're saying is these top 10 running backs could be
way different again next year.
But is that surprising given the position and the nature of it and what it
longevity
is in the
there.
NFL? It's really not all that surprising. It's unfortunate for those that play the position, especially for the ones that are trying to make the cheddar. Because, that's not exactly where you want to be playing if you're trying to have a sustainable career.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we'll move on to quarterbacks here. This one I think they did a little bit better with, outside of a couple obvious, I think, misplacements. So Mahomes is first. I think that was pretty much expected. He was given the other 99 overall so far. I don't think there's any argument there. No. He's just a stud. So second is Russell Wilson, which also makes perfect sense. I think that he shouldn't be anywhere else. Third is where it gets interesting. I think the reason why this player is here is not so much because of his pure quarterback skills, but his stats are being brought up by his other intangibles, like his speed, breaking sack, quickness,
elusiveness.
And that's
juke.
Lamar Jackson. And that's not a surprise, just based purely off of rankings, because I guess one thing you do have to think about is it's not purely just stat-based, just to give them credit for the running backs. A lot of it does have to do with they bring in I think they say 25 different ratings into account to give that. So that's probably fine. Now this is where it gets interesting to me. They have Breeze at 4, Brady at 5, and Aaron Rodgers at 6. And now don't get me wrong. I understand Rodgers didn't have a great year. Pure arm talent and quarterback talent, right now, Aaron Rodgers is better than both of them.
Oh, 100%. Aaron Rodgers, as far as the arm is concerned, he's probably right up there behind Mahomes. I mean, if you want to factor the age thing.
He's still top 5 arm talent for sure.
Yeah, 100%. You can factor in the age a little bit, but he is at least 3 or 4 years younger than both Brady and Breeze. Rodgers should at least be a 90. I mean, so you can argue the overall stat and the number however you'd like, but it's just kind of interesting to see the list and where they fall within the list, because basically Madden is like, here's our top 10 quarterbacks when we just did ESPN's a couple weeks ago. I do like that they put Prescott in front of Wentz. However, they kept them both at 84. I'm sure that created quite the divide in the NFC East fandoms.
And then in between Rodgers and Dak and Wentz, we had Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson, which I think Deshaun Watson should be above Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's purely stats-wise is a top 10 quarterback, but he's not a guy who I'm like, I can't wait to watch Matt Ryan play. I wish he was my quarterback. If I didn't have Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan is probably on this top list here is probably – heck, he's probably 7th, so maybe he is in the right place, actually. But I've just never been a big Matty Ice fan.
I push back on that a little bit. I feel like his career has been undervalued, and I guess the peak of it was that 2016 season when, of course, they tragically lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He ended up, I don't think, he didn't win the MVP, but he ended up winning Offensive Player of the Year. He had an incredible season. And he had a couple other years where he had gotten to the NFC Championship. They got routed by Green Bay one of the years, and they lost a close game driving to win the game-clinching touchdown against the 49ers when the 49ers went up against the Ravens in the Harbaugh Bowl. And he's just been consistent. He came into the league lighting it up, and it was like within the first couple of years, his parallel was Joe Flacco, and then those careers obviously panned out very differently, even though Flacco was able to get the Super Bowl win. But you got to look at the collection of the talent on the roster and everything, and things just break different ways for a myriad of reasons. But I like Matt Ryan up there. I do. At the tail end of the ESPN list that we were going over a couple weeks ago, it was Matt Stafford that was snuck in at the end of it, right? Interesting.
I'd like to see where he's at. He's probably in there between 10 and 13, I would have to guess.
Yeah.
But one other interesting part is we're going to look at the top 10 from last year. This one blew my mind. Phillip Rivers was the third highest ranked quarterback preseason for Madden last year.
And that's Madden 2020.
This was Madden 2020.
That's so
and the Phillip Rivers was at 3. Andrew Luck was at 4. That's really funny because he doesn't exist anymore.
That hurts.
And that is unfortunate.
That hurts.
Big Ben was at 9. An elbow injury against the Seahawks wiped out his season.
Right.
Cam Newton at number 10, whose season was also wiped out. Both of those guys could arguably be within that top 10 range, depending on where they're at in this season. But, I think overall Madden does a decent job. They really do take pride in their rankings. I remember watching like a 20-minute special, and they watch film. They go and they just tinker with these rankings all season long. They ask players, they ask coaches, they ask executives where they think these players should be ranked. And so, they do their due diligence, but does that mean we can't debate about it? No.
No,
I mean,
of course not.
Of course they're wrong.
No, and you see it in Hard Knocks. These guys show up, these guys from Madden that adjust the player ratings and everything, and they have these conversations with the players that are, taking issue with the fact that, oh, I'm only a 73, and it's like, well, hey, you just got into the league, and not sure about you. Like, what do you expect? I love all the players getting so hurt over these. And I suppose if I were a professional athlete, I probably would too. I'm not holding myself exempt from that. But, like, it's just some of them are ridiculous. Like, I remember TJ Hushmanzada was pissed a long time ago because his speed rating was not. It's like it was like under 90 or something.
Bro,
and
you're
it was
slow.
like, have you seen? Yeah. Do you know what kind of receiver you are?
You're not a speed demon, that's for sure.
Sometimes it's just ridiculous, and it can make for a good laugh. But always interesting to see which players take gripe with them.
So we're going to completely shift gears here, and we're going to move on to some NBA talk. There's nothing really new in terms of basketball. Nothing's really going on. The bubble's still in place. Teams are still making their way down to Orlando, I think. I don't know if really anyone else has opted out. Big name-wise yet, there's been some discussions. But there was one big piece of news in terms of the largest NBA reporter in the sports media world. I don't know how to say his last name.
Wojnarowski, but if you look at how it's spelled, it's Wojnarowski.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So Adrian Wojnarowski.
What?
Woj.
I'm over it. Just call him Woj.
That's what everyone calls him. So Woj, essentially, an email was sent from Josh Hawley, a senator from Missouri, to the NBA commissioner, essentially saying, hey, social justice messages, that's fine. That's, whatever. But you should also allow pro-police and also pushing back against the whole communist China thing from earlier in the season. And to kind of go off of that communist China thing, what happened is the Houston Rockets GM tweeted out a pro-Hong Kong message at the beginning of the season. China wasn't happy about that, cut the NBA's exposure down, and I think they didn't allow merchandise to be sold. Mm-hmm. China doing China things, and big stars, including LeBron, came out and said, I can't believe we're doing this to our revenue stream. And it's like, all right, LeBron, I guess you hate people from Hong Kong standing up for what they believe in. So essentially, this senator was not happy with these messages not being allowed, and in turn, Woj came and don't know why he thought that this was going to be just blown under the rug. Essentially, no, this is what he did. He emailed the senator saying, F you, but actually said the entire word, and that blew up because the senator was like, oh, well, we'll screenshot that, we'll put that here, and now everybody knows about it. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal because this guy has a couple million followers on Twitter. I mean, he's a massive, massive presence in basketball in the NBA world. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's a decently big news dump that happened.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, it's kind of hilarious just because after seeing countless hours of Woj on TV and his personality, just kind of nerdy, he's got his glasses, kind of balding. Yeah. Love the dude. And just seeing the fact that he responded like that in an email, I was like, that's pretty sick.
Well, you're like imagining it. You have a senator here, and I'm Woj. You're just imagining him just going, F you. And like, it does that
it
sort of idea.
It catches you off guard. It's like, I respect the audacity. I had a hard time believing it at first.
It's like, all right, The Onion,
when I was trying to figure out on Twitter what was going on and why he had been suspended and everything, and then it was like, here's a screenshot of the email. And it's like, oh my God, he actually did it.
Yeah.
So in that part, it's amusing to me.
It is very funny. You're right.
I don't understand how you suspend somebody whose primary job is to break news.
Yeah.
Is he just not allowed to go on Twitter? How do they police that? How do
I would like to know
that?
as well. I'd like to see that sort of letter that he received saying, here's what you can and can't do. Thanks for being an employee, but don't do this for a week or two.
Right. And I understand that. I think the reason that Woj took such offense to it and was just because obviously the senator he probably felt was trying to take focus away from the social injustice and the movements that we're trying to make here, not only in the United States of America but across the globe.
Yeah.
And I think he probably took offense to the fact that he just thought it was not the right place to have that conversation. And that's fair.
Yeah.
And trying to take away from what we feel is the most pressing issue right now, which is, the police brutality and the social injustices done onto people of minority in the States specifically. But the senator kind of had a point. Maybe the wrong place. Maybe don't bring it up that way. But he did raise a point of hypocrisy, which I thought was fair if you were to take it into a more I don't know, level context that wasn't so heated. And
ESPN just continues to just have these PR nightmares, essentially.
Right.
And it's been pretty consistent over the last 5 years, going from Max Kellerman, who we've talked about, Jamel Hill, who's had her definite things that have gone on, and ESPN plays into this. And it's not even just ESPN, but the NBA too. The NBA has also been a very big hotspot because players have a large voice in the NBA, and the NBA commissioner, I think, doesn't do a great job. And heck, I think a lot of, the NFL is the same way. They allow some message and then don't allow some message. In my opinion, if you're going to allow some messages, you allow them all, unless it's obvious. If it's racist, obviously not. But if it's pro something good, the police are good in their ground foundational message. And it's not like people are going to be like, yay, police, yay, do bad things. It's going to be like, we stand with you, the good ones. And so it's one of those things where it's like, you're going to you're going to use this time and you're going to just absorb this PR nightmare without really thinking past the surface. And I think that's one of the problems, and I think that's where the center was kind of getting at. Like you said, the hypocrisy of the entire thing. If you're going to allow some messages, that's fine. I think you also at the same time have to focus. Now if they had a week of doing this and then another week of free for all, that might be a better idea, because then you're allowing for focus and then you're allowing for being able to broaden that.
Yeah.
And now you're welcome, NBA. No, so it is really funny, because in this day and age when he sent that, I wonder what his first thought was. Was it like, I'm not going to get caught, because that doesn't happen.
Right.
So that also would be a really interesting interview right now. Just sit down for 5 minutes and just ask him, why did you do it? What did you expect to happen? Is this what you expected to happen?
He came out immediately and apologized and said that he was disrespectful, and he was reaching out personally to the senator and apologizing, and then apologized to all of his colleagues as well for misrepresenting ESPN and everything that they should stand for. Somebody did come out and report, though, that there has been a material change in Woj's contract. So
that'll be interesting. Whatever that means.
It's probably something really small and insignificant, but who knows? We'll find out.
He only gets 50 tweets a day, unless it's breaking news.
Damn.
All right, so now we're gonna move. We're switching gears again. Again, there's not much going on, so we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of some of the news. But one that could have repercussions across the entire sports landscape is college football coming out and saying, we're not quite sure what's going to happen, including the SEC commissioner, which is the largest college football conference, saying this is an urgent problem. We're not sure if this is going to happen. The Pac-12, along with other major conferences throughout college football, have said Big Ten, conference-only games, that's it. There are other conferences, such as the local NWAC conference, which is SFCC, NIC, among other community colleges throughout the state, have said no sports till January. And that's a big problem, not just for college football, but in terms of the NWAC, sports in general. And there's a lot of local kids who play on NIC, who play on SFCC, and community colleges around the state who are not going to have a chance to play this fall or possibly this winter. So that's big, because the NCAA... Actually, for the NCAA, this isn't that big of a deal in terms of college football not getting played. In terms of their bottom line, the NCAA makes, I think, 75 to 80% of its revenue from the NCAA tournament. So if college football doesn't happen, it's worse for the schools who are already consistently in the red and who struggle to be in the black because of the fact that you have, 75 scholarships that they have to hand out compared to basketball, and you have 12 or 13. And so this news is a bigger deal to the college football programs. A school like WSU, whose probably 70% of their athletic budget goes to football, this is a big hit, because they already have these guys on scholarship. The NCAA already said that they will honor these scholarships, but it's a weird time. And I'm not a huge college football fan just because I never had a team growing up. I am a Coug fan just because of where I live.
Proximity.
And I will root for them 10 times out of 10 over the Huskies. But college football does provide opportunities for many student athletes, like I said, 75 scholarships, whatever it is, to go to school, to get an education, because most of those players won't ever make the NBA, the NFL, and this is their best opportunity to get an education. So this could have long-standing implications down the road.
Yeah, and not to be overly pessimistic, but it's frankly just a reality. This might not stop. In terms of, some of the Power 5 conferences, such as the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, just saying, hey, we're only going to keep it to conference games. I would not be surprised if it continues to dwindle down and maybe ultimately gets pushed back to spring, but I hear that there's a lot of pushback on that idea as well. So nobody knows what the hell is going to happen. Let's all just be honest here. But for college in particular, because they're not getting paid, because they are not professionals, because there are so many more liabilities wrapped up with the NCAA and the colleges themselves, it's kind of hard to push these players out.
Yeah.
And they're kids.
Yeah.
Even 21, 22 years old, they're kids. They're young. So it's a lot worse of a look from an optics perspective to put them out. Under these circumstances and put them perhaps in harm's way. So I would not be surprised if we continue to see the disintegration of the NCAA and football.
That's the big thing, too, when we're looking at these college athletic programs is professionals can opt out. Professionals can say, no thanks, we're not going to get paid, we're going to go stay with our families. College athletes, this is all they have. They have school, I guess. But it's either they play and they get a scholarship, or they don't play and they get a scholarship. But things get just very weird when you're looking at this entire thing. I've had many people ask me, because I cover the Zags for the Spokesman. I've had many people ask me what is going to happen with the Zags, and it's the exact same thing you said. Nobody really knows, unfortunately, because the Zags had a chance to win the NCAA tournament last season. They were going to host it here in Spokane. This coming season, they have the best recruiting class of all time, preseason number 1, and they may not even get a chance to play. And that's the whole issue with me, is it's all up in the air, and it's very unfortunate. I think a lot of people are like, it's just sports, it's just whatever, and it's like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And again, it's not even just us as fans, but these student athletes who this is their last chance to maybe play the sport. And we're looking not just at the power conferences, but we're looking across the NCAA as a whole, Division 2, 3, the community colleges. I mean, there's all sorts of kids who are just trying to have fun and enjoy the last few ounces of their dream that they have left. And so it gets deeper than just the money aspect, and gets deeper than just being able to watch them. There's actual human life here that is being impacted beyond just what we care about.
Well, and I think what doesn't get mentioned as well for a lot of these players who don't end up going pro in their respective sport is that their college athletic experience really propels and gives them a platform to do whatever it is that they're going to pursue post-college. On Pete Carroll and Steve Kerr's most recent podcast, Senator Cory Booker was saying exactly that. He went to Stanford, he played tight end, and he's now the senator of New Jersey, and he was talking about that's exactly how, because he had a lot of good people around him going into his whole situation, but he knew that football was not going to be the long term. So he was able to use that to propel him into his career in politics, and I know that you can find that in so many different places within college athletics and what people are able to do because of their experiences during their time in college. So there's a lot more than just the sport.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, that is the end of our segments as far as the normal news. Now we will move into our third rendition of Closing Time, which is our only consistent segment for the moment.
Yeah, maybe we should get a soundbite for that.
That's a good point. We will.
Probably have copyright issues let's trying to get the song, but
we'll just pretend like we didn't hear anything. We'll let the producer deal with that. So let's go with yours first. What is your closing time?
Okay, so talking about scraping the bottom of the barrel. So many of you NBA fans might know the beloved friendship between Tobias Harris and, God, what is his name? Bobby. Big guy, plays for the Dallas Mavericks now, but he used to be looking. He is a large human being.
Yes.
Anyway, they have a well-documented over social media friendship, and it's one of the nice storylines that really don't have any effect on any greater things. But there seems to be a rift and a jealousy and perhaps a triangle being created now that Boban does not play with Tobias. They're no longer on the same team. They haven't been for a while, but Boban's got a new friend.
Oh, boy.
Luka Doncic.
Oh, yes. Good old Luka.
A lot of footage coming out of them horsing around on the basketball court together down in the bubble. Yeah, grappling up together. And so Tobias has responded, and Boban even tried to apologize to Tobias as Tobias was sitting out on his balcony in the bubble. He was down on the ground trying to serenade him.
Yeah, was he like holding his big old boombox?
It was exactly that, doing his best reenactment, minus the boombox. So there might be a little bit of trouble in paradise for Toby and Bobby. So
this is very much a reality TV show, it sounds like.
100%.
I would like to see footage. There needs to be a Hard Knocks for the NBA, and they need to be in the bubble right now.
They better be documenting.
If not, they're missing out on a very lucrative opportunity.
Right.
I'm going to, you're welcome, NBA. We have come up with more ideas than the NBA has in months, and I'm just frankly not surprised because we're geniuses and know more than any of the Adam Silver or anyone else who is involved with the NBA. So,
well, thank God we got a massive viewership.
Exactly.
So I mean, these ideas aren't going to waste.
No, this is definitely going to go viral, and Adam Silver will see it, and we're just going to. I think we're going to become the new First Take, but it's fine because definitely not an ESPN. I don't want to be. Actually, let's move.
Let's be undisputed. Let's be Skip and Shannon.
Yes, exactly. So,
but let's not.
Let's really not. My closing time is I'm going to be more of an optimist. So I'm wearing my Mariners jersey today because of the fact that the Mariners are, I think, 3 games into their inter-squad games. Their season kicks off here in about a week and a half. And I'm just trying to be positive. So the Mariners have not made the playoffs since 2001. They better not make it this year, or that's going to make me upset because it's going to have a giant asterisk next to it. What would be even worse is if, for whatever reason, they win the World Series and will be laughed at for all eternity. So
I don't think we got to worry about that.
I don't think we have to worry about that either, but if it happens, I'm going to have to disappear. No one will ever hear or see from me again. Essentially, what I want to look at is the Mariners' record in terms of how much they have hurt me and how positive I'm going to be for the 19th season in a row, 19th or 20th season in a row. Essentially, they won 89 games in 2018, barely missed out on a playoff spot. They won 86 games in 2016, also barely missed a playoff spot. They have won over 85 games. It looks like 7 times here since 2001. Mm-hmm. They have a chance now. They have their top 10 prospects are really starting to make some noise. Jared Kelenic has hit 2 home runs. Hit 2 home runs yesterday. Is really killing it so far in these inter-squad games. Last year he hit .291 with 23 home runs and 68 RBIs with 20 stolen bases. He's a young stud, 11th in MLB's rankings, who we got in the trade from Cano and Diaz last season. So that's a big deal. The other one I'm really excited about is Kyle Lewis, who is the Mariners' 10th ranked prospect, which is really interesting. But so far, he has hit 3 home runs with 2 walks in his 5 plate appearances this spring in the inter-squad games, not when they actually had spring training games, along with Julio Rodriguez, Logan Gilbert, Evan White, George Kirby, Novelli Marte, Justin Dunn, and Jake Fraley, who will all possibly make appearances this season. I'm pumped about the Mariners, not this year, probably not next year with all this stuff going on right now, but you heard it here first. Mariners pennant race 2022.
Okay, fair. I will not push back on that all that much.
That's an awesome picture of
also,
Boban.
I blanked on his name. His last name, Boban's, is Marjanovic, but nobody really cares about his last name because he's just known as Boban. Or Bobby.
This might be mean, but he looks like the guy from the Goonies.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. It's okay. I think he's married. I think he's got kids. I think he's set in that department of his life, and he's making a lot of money playing basketball.
He's making a lot of money playing basketball. I would also would be very interested to see who his wife is because that guy is massive, and I think it's really funny when you see someone who's 7 foot who is just massive, and then they'll have like a 5'6" girlfriend. It's like
practical sense.
Practical and multiple other senses. I think is a very fair question to ask. So we'll leave you with that one. You can think about how Boban and his girlfriend, look her up because I probably will. We're going to figure out how that works and let you know next week on the next Locker Room, your Spokane's only consistently running sports radio, talk, video, podcast show.
Please, God, sports come back. Thanks for watching The Locker Room on Spokane Talks. Check us out on Facebook as well as our other platforms. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation by emailing us at info@SpokaneTalksOnline.com. And for more sports news, opinions, and content, follow Justin and me on Twitter.